Have you ever sat down at your computer, opened up your brokerage account, and just stared blankly at the screen? You have cash ready to deploy, you know you need to build wealth for your future, but the sheer volume of choices is absolutely paralyzing. You hear one expert screaming that you need to be entirely in US large-cap tech stocks. Then another expert warns that international markets are undervalued and primed for a massive breakout. Then a third person chimes in saying the stock market is too high and you need a bedrock of bonds to protect yourself. It is overwhelming. It is enough decision fatigue to make anyone want to just close the laptop, walk away, and leave their hard-earned money sitting in a savings account losing value to inflation. Welcome back to Grow with Tony. I am thrilled you are here with me today because we are going to tackle that exact feeling of overwhelm. Today we are talking about the holy grail for the busy hands-off investor. We are asking a massive question: is there truly a one-fund global portfolio? Specifically, we are going to tear apart and deeply analyze the AOR ETF. Multi-asset ETFs like this are exploding in popularity right now because they promise the ultimate set-it-and-forget-it strategy. By the time we wrap up this episode, you will know exactly what AOR is, the exact mechanics of how it works, who it is perfectly designed for, and whether this single ticker symbol is literally all you need to build long-term generational wealth. Just a quick reminder before we get into the heavy lifting: this podcast is strictly for educational purposes and is not personalized financial advice. Alright, let us build this from the ground up. What exactly is the AOR ETF and who is the architect behind it? AOR is officially known as the iShares Core 60/40 Balance Allocation ETF. It is managed by iShares, which is the ETF division of BlackRock. For context, BlackRock is the largest asset manager on the planet, overseeing trillions of dollars. They are the heavyweights. Now, when most people think of an ETF, an exchange-traded fund, they picture a basket that goes out and buys individual stocks, like buying a tiny fraction of Apple, a piece of Tesla, and a sliver of Johnson & Johnson. But AOR is not your standard stock-picking fund. It is what we call an asset allocation fund. It uses a strictly passive strategy rather than an active one. This is a crucial distinction. There is no team of highly paid Wall Street managers sitting in a glass boardroom trying to guess what the Federal Reserve will do next month, or trying to time the market by jumping in and out of different sectors. Active allocation sounds sexy, but historically it usually loses to the market and costs you a fortune in fees. Instead, AOR operates as a fund of funds. Think of it like a master puzzle made up of smaller, perfectly fitted puzzles. Instead of going out and individually buying 10,000 different global stocks and bonds, AOR simply holds a handful of other massive iShares ETFs to build one complete, globally diversified portfolio for you. It is the ultimate shortcut. Let us look at the core investment objective here. AOR is specifically designed for what they define as a growth-oriented allocation. The primary goal is long-term capital appreciation. It wants to grow your money, plain and simple. However, it wants to do this while adhering to a very strict, mathematically targeted risk level. It is trying to capture the upward momentum of global capitalism, but it absolutely insists on installing heavy-duty guardrails on the roller coaster. It recognizes that while making money is great, preventing catastrophic behavioral mistakes, like panic selling during a crash, is just as important. So how do they actually achieve that? What does the structural foundation look like? Under the hood, AOR targets a classic, historically proven mix. Approximately 60% equities, meaning stocks, and 40% fixed income, meaning bonds. Keep in mind these percentages can drift slightly based on market conditions, but the fund automatically rebalances to maintain this target allocation. This 60/40 split is legendary in the finance world. It is often considered the Goldilocks portfolio, not too hot, not too cold. Inside that 60% stock sleeve, they do not just dump everything into the US market. You are getting a massive foundational slice of United States equities at approximately 34% of the total portfolio. But you are also getting significant exposure to international developed markets at approximately 17%, plus emerging markets exposure. You are talking about economies like Japan, the United Kingdom, Switzerland, and Australia. And they do not stop there. You are also getting an allocation to emerging markets, rapidly growing, highly dynamic economies like India, Taiwan, and Brazil. And we look at the 40% bond side. This is your anchor. This fixed income sleeve is carefully split between broadly diversified US bonds, including government treasuries and high-quality corporate debt, as well as international bonds. And a common question I get is about real estate. While AOR does not have a dedicated separate bucket labeled REITs or real estate investment trusts, you are absolutely still getting robust real estate exposure. Because AOR owns the total global stock market, all of those publicly traded real estate companies are naturally baked right into the equity portion of the fund. This specific, meticulously balanced mix matters deeply. It matters because nobody has a crystal ball. Nobody knows if the US tech sector will dominate the next 10 years, or if emerging markets will suddenly surge, or if a recession will make safe haven bonds the best performing asset. By holding a globally diversified 60/40 portfolio, you ensure that no matter what sector, country, or asset class is booming, you own a piece of it. To really understand the elegance of this, we need to look at the exact underlying ETFs inside AOR because it is a fund of funds. OR is holding heavy hitters that many of you might already have in your portfolios. For the US stock portion, it holds IVV, which tracks the S&P 500, giving you the largest American companies. For international exposure, it holds IDEV for developed markets and IEMG for emerging markets. On the bond side, it holds IUSB, which is the iShares Core Universal USD Bond ETF covering the broad US bond market, and IAGG for international bonds. This structure is breathtakingly efficient. Sometimes, when investors try to build a portfolio with 5 or 6 different ETFs on their own, they run into a major problem called overlap risk. They might buy a total stock market fund and then also buy an S&P 500 fund, not realizing they are just buying the exact same massive tech companies twice, ruining their diversification. Because BlackRock explicitly designs and controls all of the underlying funds inside AOR, they piece them together with surgical precision. There is no messy overlapping. You get incredibly clean, pure exposure across the entire board. I want to pause and really emphasize the geographic diversification aspect, because US investors suffer terribly from home country bias. We look at the last 10 or 15 years, see the S&P 500 destroying everything else, and assume it will always be that way. But history tells a very different story. Think about the lost decade for US stocks from the year 2000 to 2009. During that 10-year stretch, the S&P 500 basically went nowhere. It was a flat, agonizing decade for American equities. But during that exact same period, emerging markets were absolutely on fire, posting massive gains. Having a global footprint in AOR protects you from a lost decade in any single country. Now, having international exposure does introduce some currency exposure risks. When the United States dollar is incredibly strong compared to the euro or the yen, the returns of your international stocks will look a bit weaker when translated back into your dollars. Conversely, if the dollar weakens, your international holdings get a nice boost. It is a constant ebb and flow, but it is a necessary trade-off. Balancing developed nations with emerging ones means you are betting on human progress as a whole, rather than betting the farm on just one government's economy. This brings us directly to the risk profile, which is arguably the strongest selling point of the AOR ETF. Let us talk about volatility. If you compare the daily, monthly, or yearly volatility of AOR to pure 100% stock index like the S&P 500, the difference is night and day. Imagine driving down a highway full of massive potholes. An all-stock portfolio is like driving a rigid sports car. You're going to feel every single bump and it might jar your teeth loose. OR, with its 40% bond allocation, is like driving a massive luxury sedan with an active air suspension. Those bonds act as a giant shock absorber for your wealth. The mathematical reason for this is the correlation between these asset classes. Historically, stocks and high-quality bonds have a relatively low or sometimes even negative correlation. When the stock market is experiencing a terrifying freefall, when investors are panicking and selling their equities, where do they put that money? They usually rush toward the safety of bonds. That massive influx of capital pushes bond prices up. So when your stock sleeve is zigging downward, your bond sleeve is often zagging upward, or at the very least, holding its ground like a fortress. If you look at the maximum drawdown history, which is a fancy way of saying how far the fund falls from its absolute highest peak down to its terrifying lowest point during a crash, AOR fiercely protects your money. We saw this in real time during the intense COVID crash in early 2020, and we saw it again during the brutal inflation and interest rate shocks of 2022. Yes, AOR went down because everything went down. But it did not drop nearly as far or as violently as an all-stock portfolio. That shallower drop means your portfolio has far less ground to make up when the recovery inevitably begins. But I have to be completely transparent with you. That incredible downside protection comes at a price, and we see it clearly when we look at historical performance. If you chart out the 1-year, 3-year, 5-year, and 10-year returns, OR provides a beautiful chart of solid, steady, positive compounding. But here's the brutal truth you have to accept. During a raging euphoric bull market, AOR will underperform the S&P 500. It is mathematically guaranteed to lag behind. That 40% bond allocation acts as a drag when stocks are flying high. But successful investing isn't just about capturing the absolute peak of a bull market. It is about survival. It is about staying in the game. When you zoom out and look at rolling returns over multiple decades, through recessions, wars, pandemics, and booms, AOR provides incredibly consistent wealth compounding without giving you stress-induced heart attacks along the way. It is the classic story of the tortoise and the hare. You're probably thinking right now, okay Tony, this sounds incredibly convenient. Having BlackRock manage a globally diversified, perfectly balanced portfolio for me must cost an absolute fortune in management fees. Surprisingly, it does not. The expense ratio is remarkably low, typically sitting right around 0.15%. To be transparent, this is the net expense ratio after a fee waiver. The gross expense ratio is 0.20%, but iShares waives 0.05%, bringing your actual cost down to 0.15%. To put that in perspective, that means for every $10,000 you invest, you are only paying about $15 a year in fees. And a very common question regarding fund of funds is about hidden costs. People ask, wait, am I paying the fee for AOR and then also paying the fees for the underlying funds like IVV and IUSB? Am I getting double charged? The answer is no. iShares actually employs a fee waiver system for the acquired fund fees, meaning you're genuinely just paying that low single headline expense ratio. Could you build this exact 60-40 portfolio yourself by buying the individual ETFs to save a tiny, microscopic fraction of a percent? Technically, yes. But you would be giving up massive cost efficiency when you factor in your own time, the bid-ask spreads of executing multiple trades every month, and most importantly, the burden of rebalancing. Let us dive deeply into rebalancing because this is AOR's absolute superpower. AOR features an automatic rebalancing mechanism. Let's say you build your own 60-40 portfolio. Over the course of 3 or 4 years, we know that stocks generally grow much faster than bonds. If you just leave your investments alone and do not touch them, your portfolio is going to experience what we call drift. That 60% equity portion might swell up to 75 or 80% of your total wealth simply because the stocks grew so much. Suddenly, without doing anything, your conservative 60-40 portfolio has morphed into an aggressive 80-20 portfolio, exposing you to way more downside risk than you ever signed up for. To fix that yourself, you would have to log in, do the math, sell off some of your winning stocks, and use that cash to buy more of your underperforming bonds. It feels terrible. Human nature hates selling winners to buy losers, but AOR does this automatically on a regular schedule. It ruthlessly trims your winners and scoops up your losers to maintain that strict 60-40 target. Why does this matter so much? Because psychologically it saves you from yourself. Human beings are deeply emotional creatures. We are hardwired to panic sell at the absolute bottom out of fear, and we are hardwired to greed buy at the absolute top out of fear of missing out. AOR removes your emotions from the equation entirely. It provides automatic institutional-grade risk control while you are busy living your life, sleeping, or spending time with your family. Now, for those of you who are focused on cash flow, let us examine the dividend and income characteristics. AOR does pay out a reliable yield. While it fluctuates depending on market conditions, the dividend yield typically hovers right around the 2 to 2.5% range. This yield is generated from a combination of the fixed interest thrown off by the bond sleeve, plus the corporate dividends paid out by the thousands of global companies in the stock sleeve. It distributes this income on a regular quarterly frequency, allowing you to either cash it out or, ideally, automatically reinvest it to supercharge your compound growth. You must keep tax considerations at the forefront of your mind, because 40% of this entire fund is generating bond interest, and because bonds are taxed at your ordinary income tax rate rather than the more favorable qualified dividend rate, AOR is not incredibly tax efficient if you hold it in a standard taxable brokerage account. You are going to be forced to pay taxes on those bond distributions every single year, creating a tax drag on your returns. For that specific reason, AOR transforms into an absolute powerhouse when you place it inside a tax-advantaged retirement account, like a traditional IRA, a Roth IRA, or a 401k, where that tax drag is completely neutralized. So let us get down to the practical application. Who should actually invest in AOR? This fund is practically tailor-made for the long-term passive investor. It is the ultimate vehicle for busy professionals, doctors, engineers, teachers, small business owners, people who want to relentlessly automate their wealth building. If you're the type of person who just wants to automatically transfer $500 or $1,000 a month into an account, never look at a financial spreadsheet, never read an earnings report, and wake up 20 years later with a massive pile of money, AOR is your best friend. It is perfectly ideal for the core of retirement accounts, and for anyone who acknowledges that they simply do not have the time, desire, or emotional discipline to manage complex asset allocations. On the flip side, we have to talk about who should actively avoid AOR if you are a 22-year-old aggressive growth investor with a multi-decade time horizon and a massive appetite for risk. Someone who wouldn't lose a wink of sleep if their portfolio dropped 40% in a year. AOR is going to feel painfully slow and boring for you. Furthermore, if you are a dedicated stock picker who loves reading balance sheets, or a tactical day trader trying to exploit short-term market trends, this ETF completely defeats your purpose. Lastly, if you are already retired and you are looking for an exceptionally high-yield income strategy to pay your current living expenses, AOR's yield is likely going to be too modest for your specific needs. I want to do a direct comparison that I see debated constantly. AOR versus a 100% S&P 500 portfolio. The math is clear. Over a 30-year timeline, the S&P 500 will almost certainly give you a higher absolute dollar amount at the end. It has a higher long-term compounding ceiling, but you pay for that ceiling with violent stomach-churning volatility. AOR offers drastically superior risk-adjusted returns. It offers a level of emotional and financial stability that an all-stock portfolio simply cannot match. It comes down to a deeply personal trade-off. Are you trying to maximize your absolute dollars at the cost of your sanity, or are you trying to maximize your peace of mind while still securing a highly comfortable financial future? Another fascinating comparison is AOR versus target date funds. Many of you have target date funds in your workplace 401ks. These funds have what is called a glide path. They start out very aggressive when you are young, mostly in stocks, and as you magically approach your target retirement year, they automatically sell stocks and buy more bonds, getting progressively more conservative. AOR does not have a glide path. It stays locked at a 60-40 ratio forever. Surprisingly, this actually gives you significantly more flexibility. Many financial advisors argue that target date funds become far too conservative too early, stunting your growth right in your peak earning years. If you want a static, highly predictable risk level for the entirety of your investing journey, AOR delivers exactly that. Moreover, AOR often accomplishes this with significantly lower expense ratios than the actively managed mutual fund target date options bloated with administrative fees. Before I give you my absolute final verdict, let's do a quick wrap-up of what you actually learned today, so this really sticks with you. You learned that AOR is an incredibly efficient, single-ticker ETF from BlackRock that instantly hands you a globally diversified portfolio composed of approximately 60% stocks and 40% bonds. You learned about the genius of its fund-of-funds structure, which captures US, international, and emerging markets while successfully keeping your costs astonishingly low by avoiding double fee layering. We discussed how its automatic rebalancing mechanism protects you from portfolio drift and your own psychological biases. And finally, you learned that while you trade away a bit of upside during raging bull markets compared to a pure S&P 500 fund, you gain an incredible amount of stability and downside protection during the inevitable market crashes. So here's the final verdict. We started this episode by asking a question. Is AOR a true core portfolio ETF? Yes, absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt. But the bigger question for many people, is it enough as your only investment? Yes, it genuinely is. It effortlessly hits all the critical marks of successful investing: ultimate simplicity, vast global diversification, and ironclad automatic risk control. The cons are simply that it is a blunt instrument. It is less customizable, and it possesses a slightly lower growth upside than a pure equity strategy. But as we discussed, that is simply the toll you pay on the road to stability. Now, if you're someone who just has to scratch that investing itch, if you love the thrill of the market, you can absolutely use AOR as your massive, stable, unshakable core. Put 80 or 90% of your wealth into AOR, and then carve out that remaining 10% for satellite positions. Go buy your individual tech stocks, buy your thematic ETFs, or buy your Bitcoin. But understand that you certainly do not have to. If you want to keep your life brilliantly simple, AOR is a complete, robust, battle-tested financial strategy wrapped up in one single ticker symbol. Thank you so much for tuning in to Grow with Tony today. If this deep dive helped you see your portfolio in a new light or relieve some of that investing anxiety, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode. And hey, drop a comment below and tell me what topic, stock, or ETF you want me to cover next. Seriously, tell me and I will go make that episode for you. Until next time, stay disciplined, stay focused, and keep growing.